Cordelia Chase wakes up 2 hours late for work and 9 months pregnant.
Angel, I'm ready to wake up now. I don't seem to be waking up.
Not alone.
It's sort of the problem, isn't it?
Do you know what it is? Boy or girl?
Shut up! Don't touch me!
Looks like somebody's having twins.
Twins?
Oh my god.
They're not human.
Evil comes to term on an all-new Angel.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Slade, the Buffyverse Revisited. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Jeremy.
I'm your other host, James.
And this week, we are going to be jumping into Angel, Season 1, Episode 12, Expecting. And as we discussed last week, they are expecting werewolves.
Yeah, that's what we decided last week. I guess we'll find out if we're right or not.
We're almost always right, so.
I mean, that's true. That is true.
Kind of goes without saying.
Yeah.
So, how you doing, James? What's new? It's been ages since we've spoken.
It has been. It's been like, wow. It's just been a whirlwind of events since the last time we spoke.
Yeah, like what, about 20 minutes?
About 20 minutes. About 20 minutes. My laundry finished.
Oh.
Took it out of the dryer, put a new load. My dryer finished, and the laundry that I was running finished. So I was able to take the stuff out of the dryer, put it back where it needs to go, move the stuff out of the laundry machine into the dryer. That's going now. Man.
So you do have laundry facilities there within your new abode.
Oh yeah.
Fabulous.
It's why, like, I refused to move into an apartment.
Yeah. Or just I can't imagine anyone. I know it's there's thousands and thousands of people that do, but I can't imagine living ever in a place where I couldn't do, where I had to have shared laundry with people, or no. I did that. As like an 18-year-old when you first move out, and the first few apartments you have, sometimes you don't have your own laundry. But yeah, at this stage in my life, I can't imagine sharing laundry facilities. Now, like my mom has told me stories about some of the first apartments she and my dad had. And back then, a lot of times you didn't even have your own bathroom. You would have a shared bathroom. Like out in the hall with the other, like, one or two apartments on your floor. And I was like, fuck so much of that. Like, fuck it all hard in the face, because there's no way. She was like, yeah, every time your dad wanted to take a bath, because, there wasn't a shower, I would have to go in there first with bleach and bleach everything down. And I was like, fuck so much of that. Like, I would just take my ass out the window and take a dump. There's just no way.
Yeah, when I was looking at for new places, obviously, like, I without getting into the circumstances of why I moved, apartments obviously were factoring into some of the places I was looking, and I was like, I'm not gonna pay this kind of money to live somewhere where I don't have a washer and dryer in unit, and a garage, like, not to mention, like, having to lug things up flights of stairs potentially, if it's a building without an elevator for whatever. So I was like, my number one requirement, even for an apartment, was that it was going to have to be an apartment that had in-unit washer and dryers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because when I was 19, I had an apartment on the 3rd floor, and there was no elevators. It was just stairs.
Yeah.
And fuck every store trip, every moving into it, moving out of it. It was all a fucking nightmare.
Right. I was like, listen, if I absolutely have to move into an apartment, I'm willing to deal with like having to go up and down flights of stairs with groceries and stuff. I'm willing to deal with not having a garage. That's fine. I will not deal with a shared laundry space.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I,
Or I lived in apartments that didn't even have shared, like it was just, you don't have laundry here. You'll just have to take your shit to the laundry.
yeah. Yeah.
It's like, and you're charging how much in rent, motherfucker?
Right. So then it was like, you know, and then like to a lesser degree, like my second must have was a garage. So, you know, it's kind of like this place, and I'm renting. Like this place renting, it's a townhouse. I'm paying less for more than what I would have if rent for an apartment.
Oh yeah. I mean, when my first several apartments were like $450 a month. You know, this is the late 90s. Nowadays, those same apartments are probably going for $1,200 to maybe $1,500 a month. It's insanity. And I'm like, people, what are you doing? You can rent a house. You can buy a house with a mortgage less than that. You know what?
Right.
Fucking insanity. Right. And there's some people, man, they want to live in apartments. Like, they don't like, and I'm like, I can't wrap my head around that. Anyway, this has been House Talk with James and Jeremy.
Well, and here's the thing too, like at 43 years old now, like I would be content renting for the rest of my life. Like I don't have to be a homeowner. Like I'm okay with that. Like but I won't rent an apartment. Like you know.
Because I mean, there's so many negative things about renting shared space. It's, I mean, one asshole in your unit can set his shit on fire and burn everybody's goddamn shit down, or you know, smelling everybody else's cooking, hearing people walking around above you or below you. You know, I'm too old. I'm way too old and crotchety. Like I no.
And like I said, at 43. I'm content to keep keep renting this townhouse or rent a house. Like I'm 43 years old.
A storage space and just live in there.
Right. I'm 43 years old. I don't need to take out a 30-year mortgage at 43 years old. Not to mention like the other costs of home ownership that people don't think about.
Oh yeah, and I can attest to that. Trust me, because I am a homeowner and I can attest there are in the first year, let me just tell you this. In the first year and a half we lived in $15,000 we had to put out. Now luckily half of that was paid through homeowners insurance, but we had to have a brand new roof and we had to have a brand new for all HVAC, new furnace, new AC, everything. And it was, it's being a homeowner definitely has drawbacks, but for me, it also has enough positives that it just you know.
I mean, like I said, as long as I can keep renting something that's not an apartment, I'm fine. Yeah. You know, like, cause like I was a homeowner too prior to this. And like, it's so much nicer now if something goes wrong to just like email somebody else or call somebody else and be like, hey, this shit is busted. It needs to get fixed. I don't have to work.
Yeah, you just call somebody and say, shitter's full.
Right. And then someone comes and fixes it and I don't have to worry about it.
Oh yeah, I do miss that, but I don't miss all the other bullshit that goes along with it. But anyway, this is once again been House Talk with James and Jeremy. Yeah.
So what were we supposed to be talking about?
I think Angel, but
right.
I'm not entirely sure. Why don't you slide us? Why don't you astroglide us into into some dates and deeds.
As previously stated, we will be revisiting Angel Season 1, Episode 12, our 12th episode of the series overall. Expecting our episode credited director is David Semmel, and our credited writer is Howard Gordon. Our original air date was January 25th, 2000 on the now defunct WB network. Our Nielsen rating for this episode was 4.3 million households when it first aired, ranking it 81st out of the 135 network primetime shows airing that week, and 3rd out of the 15 primetime shows airing on the WB for the week. So again, consistently, week after week, beating our flagship show.
I
in the
mean,
ratings.
I know we have said this a million times, but I have to say it again. The murder that would be committed these days for those kind of numbers is unreal, because those numbers simply do not exist on television anymore, and they never will again.
Nope.
But it's unbelievable, and they would consider things like that. Oh, only 4.3 million. Oh man, that's only like 8 million people total this week. Oh, that's a drag. And nowadays, these execs would murder their fucking children to have this kind of, because I mean, that would translate into insane advertising revenue in this day and age.
Oh sure.
If you report these kind of numbers now, because it just doesn't happen. It just flat out does not happen, and it will never happen again. There's too many other streaming options and whatnot, and and just, I don't want to get too far off in the weeds here, but I do want to say this streaming situation is starting to piss me off, because that's basically how I consume all my media now. I haven't watched regular television in 20 fucking years. I just don't do it. But the streaming situation is starting to fucking piss me off, because it's like everybody and their mother's fucking uncle wants to start their own streaming service now. And it's like, oh, we have 2 properties, 2 IPs. Let's start our own streaming service. Like, I used to love it when Netflix basically had deals with everybody, and you could get everything on Netflix. But we have to have our own streaming service. So now, if you want to be able to watch everything, you're paying fucking 87 streaming services. It's like, and I saw Jim Gaffigan. I don't know if you know him, the comedian Jim Gaffigan.
Yeah.
It was a while ago, but he had put a joke on Twitter. He was like, hey, or I'm sorry, X as it's now known. He put on there, hey, why don't we bundle all the streaming services and call it cable? And I was like, right, exactly, because now cord cutting has become almost more expensive than just having the cord.
Right. Well, and honestly, like, to a certain degree, you are almost in a sense starting to see that joke come to fruition a little bit, because now you've got you can get Disney and Hulu and ESPN as a bundle, and pretty soon Disney and Hulu are going to be part of the same app, because they're all owned by Disney now. So now you're down to you've eliminated a streaming service. There's talk. There's apparently serious talk between Paramount, who obviously owns Paramount Plus, and Peacock to combine services. So that would be one service now. So you are, like, in ironically kind of seeing that joke start to come to fruition, where services are going to start combining. And I think to a certain degree, it's because these studios realize that, like, there's too many services, and people are getting frustrated. They're starting to get pissed off about it. We need to streamline streaming again.
Well, yeah, and I honestly, and it's not going to happen, because our country's a fucking joke, but I honestly think the FCC should step in. We should have some hearings and should step in and say, okay, enough of this bullshit. Like everybody, like you don't all get to have your own fucking streaming services. I'm sorry, but you know,
Right.
and everybody's, well, that's communist. That's blah blah blah. Well, call it what the fuck you want, but we need to do something about it because it's bullshit. And you know, they should come in and say, no, 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 no. This is how many fucking streaming services we're gonna have. You're all gonna have to learn to work the fuck together or fuck off because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's been a streaming talk with James and Jeremy. Sorry, you may now continue your dates and deeds.
Our regular cast, as always, includes David Boreanaz as Angel, Charisma Carpenter as Cordelia, and Alexis Denisoff as Wesley. Our guest stars this week include Daphne Dupleix as Serena, Ken Marino as Wilson, Josh Randell as the bartender, Doug Tompos as Dr. Wasserman, Luzette Geis as Emily, and Stephen Roy as Jason. My episode synopsis this week reads, Angel and Wesley must safeguard Cordelia when she wakes up to find herself enormously pregnant with something preternatural.
Well, mine's pretty fucking close to that. Mine just says Angel and Wesley search for answers when Cordelia wakes up 8.5 months pregnant.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That'd be a fucked up thing to wake up to. Just
that
saying.
would be a fucked up thing to wake up to. And we open as Cordelia is using the Angel Investigations door to fix her makeup and put on lipstick to go out for the evening. Huh?
The door?
Yeah, she's using the glass pane in the door.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, I don't think you can see through door. I don't think
You
door
can
has
if
reflection.
You can if there's glass in it. If it's a glass door, which it is. So shut the fuck up.
Wow. Wow.
And of course, Angel appears behind her, and of course, she didn't see his reflection, and she messes up her makeup and comments that now she looks like the Joker, and he's trying to decipher her filing system and asks why she put Mrs. Benson under F. And
I thought she was going to say, for fucking bitch. Hello.
Well, at first, at first she's like, that's not an F, that's a P. And I thought it was going to be, okay, she's filing it as paid and unpaid.
Oh, God, no. Cordelia's not that.
Which would make sense. And then she's like, oh, no, that is an F. And Angel's like, well, can I ask why we filed Mrs. Benson under F? And Cordelia's like, because she's from France.
I was like, what? Okay.
So anyway, Wesley shows up, and
he is stark naked.
Buck fucking naked.
All he has on is a belt and some flip-flops. It's so, and that little bag over his shoulder. It's so weird.
Yeah. No, he shows up bragging about a new axe that he just acquired and asking if Cordelia has had a vision, and
his Bavarian battle axe.
Yes, and it's apparently been quiet on the evil front. About that point, a couple of Cordelia's friends, Serena and Emily, show up, and
they appear to be James. What do they appear to be? These friends of hers.
They appear to be whores.
Yes, they do. I was gonna say whores.
No, that is.
Are you slut shaming them?
No, of course not. Everyone loves whores.
Thank you.
Whore is reserved for whores that we like.
The highest quality.
The highest quality of
okay.
Whore. Yes.
I got you. So these chicks, since we don't really like them, they're just whores.
They're just straight up whores.
Okay.
Yeah. So they and Cordelia are going to go to a club called Lounge La Brea, to meet the famous photographer Wilson Christopher, who it turns out Cordelia has been seeing. And this will apparently be their third date.
Who comes up with these names?
I don't care.
Wilson Christopher. That is like the most pretentious douchebag name I have maybe ever heard.
Based on the dates and deets I gave. Wow. I don't know. Jeremy Davis is pretty douchey and pretentious.
Wow. I mean, it is. It kind of is.
Well, especially if you go by Jeremiah.
Well, especially if your name is missed. Oh, don't even get me started. Got an extra letter in it.
Yeah, that extra E always throws me the fuck off.
I've lived with it for 45 years, and it throws me the fuck off. My mom's always like, I saw it that way in a baby book. And my dad used to say, the only baby book ever written with it spelled like that.
But to answer your question, apparently, if you had been paying attention to the dates and deets, you would know that it was Howard Gordon that came up with that name.
Oh, I never pay attention to that part.
I know. I just feel like I'm wasting my time.
Well, it's for the listener's benefit anyway, not mine. Because I couldn't give a flying fuck who wrote what the Nielsen rating was. You know.
This would devolve into a very boring podcast if we didn't talk about things like that.
Oh no! They need to be there for the audience and everything. I'm just saying, for me, I don't give French fried titty fuck. Okay.
So and apparently Cordelia's been dating this Wilson Christopher guy, and this will be their third date. Angel kind of
wait.
Cordelia.
Let me stop you just really quickly. I'm going to quit interrupting you, but because I'm going to say it now because I thought of it while I was watching it. They do say that this is going to be their third date, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to jump too far ahead, but a little bit later when they're in this club together, she and this Wilson Christopher, he's talking like, maybe I'm just...
It's like their second date.
Or like maybe their second date, possibly their first, because he's all like, oh, I'm going to send Serena flowers because, as a thank you for introducing me to you. Like, I was like, am I missing? Didn't they say earlier that this is like their third date, but he's acting like...
Well, I mean, okay, so to be fair, like, that really wouldn't be something you would say to somebody on a first date, though.
Okay, fair enough, but it just...
like I would like that's the kind of thing you would say to someone like on like maybe the third or later date, like once you know that there's like chemistry and a connection and you're probably going to keep seeing each other, like
let's be honest. If after the first date you haven't boned yet, is it even going anywhere?
I don't agree with that sentiment, but but he does ask. I will say he does say to her, and this was my kind of like, well, wait a minute, isn't this their third date? He's like, so you came to Sunnydale, or you came to Los Angeles from Sunnydale. Tell me about that. Like, right. That seems like kind of like first date questions.
That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of the other things he was saying seemed like they had just met.
Right.
And I was like, well, didn't they say this? And I thought, well, it just, maybe they changed that. They added that line in or something. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't really reflected in the script. And
they may have changed it to be so that it was specified it was their third date, so that it didn't make Cordelia seem like a whore for sleeping with this guy on the first date.
Well, oh, you know what? Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. They might, because that line could have easily been 80 yard in, where they said, "Oh, it's the third date or whatever." Because they might have, looked back,
or even filmed out of sequence.
Yeah, filmed later on. Yeah, because
Right.
they might have looked back and been like, "Ooh, this could make her look really bad." And I'm
Right.
like, "Why? A chick can't go to fucking Bone Town on the first date?
Right.
What the
I
fuck?
mean, this is, but
Guys
I
do
mean,
it, like every day."
right. Like, yeah. To be clear, like, there's that. Like, Jeremy and I are not saying there's anything wrong with that. Like,
No.
but also like it's primetime teen drama in the late 90s, early 2000s.
They might have thought we probably shouldn't.
Right.
Yeah, and
Right.
that's
Right. Like,
and I think
like,
HIV was still probably pretty prevalent then, and
right.
yeah.
Like, I mean, but like, I mean, come on, realistically, like, you're 100% right. Like, guys sleep with women on the first date all the time. If a chick wants to hop in bed with some dude on the first date, like, that's her fucking business. Who the fuck cares?
Well, Christian conservatives, aka busybodies.
Busybodies. Where was? We are also still in the cold open, folks. This is a long cold open.
It's I'm going to quit interrupting you so you can get through the
So Angel like takes Cordelia aside and he's all like, you're dating someone? How come I haven't met him? And she's like, because I'm ashamed of you and you'll embarrass me by giving him the 3rd degree. And I was like,
and I've been because you're not my dad? What the fuck?
And she said that and I was like, that's fair. Angel would 100% do that.
Yeah, but I would have also I would have been like, because you're not my dad? I don't know. Do you introduce me to all your creatures of the night that you bang every night?
And as they're talking about that, she gets rocked by a vision, and she falls.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, apparently nothing's gonna stop you.
You're exactly right, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. I think we discussed this before, but it makes me wonder: have we decided? Can Angel not reach climax, period? Or can he not reach climax with like someone he's in love with?
I think we've discussed it and I don't think we've landed on like a solid thing, but here's my take on it. So I've got to believe that, and we do get an answer later in the series. You recall?
Oh, we do. No, I don't recall.
We do. And when, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Blondie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But 2 different Blondies actually.
True, but I'm thinking of a Blondie we've met before.
Yes. And then there's Werewolf Blondie down the road after that.
So yeah, you're okay. Yeah, then I guess that is our. But as of right now on the show, we don't.
As of right now, we don't know. So from a as of right now, do we know perspective? My mindset would have been, I think he probably can, because after he was cursed, I could see like. Obviously, he didn't get with anybody until Buffy, but you can't tell me that dude wasn't cranking it occasionally.
Yeah, but now hang on. Let me do a counterpoint.
Okay.
Maybe that's why he's so moody and broody.
Because he wasn't cranking it? Because
he can't crank one out.
Maybe.
I mean, that would make me pretty fucking moody and broody.
Yeah, true. True.
You know? Just saying, true. Just a little bit.
Yep, a little bit. Yeah.
All right, now I promise I'm not going to interrupt anymore.
So she's rocked by a vision and falls on the floor behind her desk. And to cover up her distress, Angel accidentally knocks a file off the desk and is like, "Hey, Cordy, pick that up for me, because you're my bitch."
I thought the same thing because he goes, pick the file up. I'm like,
yeah, he's like, he drops the file and then he's like, hey, Cordelia, pick that up. And I'm like, what? Dude, like, I understand you're trying to cover for the fact that she's having a vision, but
you should have gave him like
man.
an uppercut and nut shot.
And then he and Wesley proceed to distract Serena and Emily with conversation, and it's hilariously awkward. Like, I laughed through the entire scene because Angel's like, so you're going to Lounge La Brea? I hear the bands, and then one of the girls cuts him off and she's like, there's no bands. He's like, which I like, because if they're too loud. And the other girl, who had already expressed an interest in Angel, was like, do you want to come with? And he's like, nah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be busy.
Yeah, and
Like, and he and Wesley end up being so awkward about conversing with them to try and distract them that they conclude they're a gay couple.
Yeah. So here we go again. Another episode of like, ha ha ha, gay. You know. How
Yes.
many jokes have they made in this show? Seriously.
Okay, so I knew you were going to bring this up, and I didn't bother to do any fucking research because I don't care.
Wow. Alrighty.
But I do have a counterpoint to make to that argument, and it comes at the end of this scene. At the end of the first scene after the opening, and I'll bring it up then.
Okay.
So, they conclude that they must be a gay couple. Meanwhile, Cordy has this vision, and it's this thing like busting out of an egg, and it's got claws on its hands, and yada yada. So she ends up forcing herself up, and she gives Angel the necessary information, and then she heads off with her friends. And Angel and Wesley show up at the address that Cordelia gave them. Wesley, of all people, kicks in the door, which I was like, all right, good on you, Wes. All right. And rushes in. Of course, Angel can't get in. Or I shouldn't say of course, but Angel is immediately like bounces off the threshold. And we cut to inside the house, and there's this little old couple there sitting in recliner chairs watching TV. And Wesley's all like, where do you lay your eggs? And this and everything else. And Angel's confused as fuck. And he happens to glance over, and he sees through the window of the house next door the thing that Cordy saw in her vision. So Angel like makes up this excuse about termites and like gets Wesley to look next door, and Wesley sees what Angel sees, and they leave, and but as they're leaving, Wesley peeks his head back in, and he's like, sorry about the door, and exits scene, and that's our cold open. It was a long cold open.
My only problem with that scene is the little old couple, they seemed like zombies.
Yeah, they just sat
care
there
less
staring at Wesley.
because he's standing there with a crossbow pointed at him and a fucking battle axe in his hand, and he's like, evildoers and blah blah blah, and they're just like completely. It was just weird reaction.
Like, they're just staring at him, and I kind of chalked it up as to like a whole like too stunned to speak kind of thing.
But they didn't seem stunned at all. They were just like,
like they were just kind of staring at him. Also, I wanted to mention something that I thought was hilarious. Right after Cordy and her friends leave, Angel's like, grabbing his jacket to go fight this thing, and Wesley's all like, oh, you don't need any help by any chance, and Angel hands him the paper with the address, kind of like, yes, come with me. And at one point during the awkward conversation part of the scene, Wesley had accidentally like stuck his battle axe, the pick part of the battle axe, into the wall. So as they're leaving, Wesley remembers it and he goes to retrieve it, and Angel's already like outside in the lobby area and he's looking through the window, and Wesley struggles and ends up pulling the axe out of the wall, and he falls back onto the ground, and the look that Angel gives, it fucking cracked me up. You see through the glass, Angel's just like, he's like watching him, like, and he pulls the axe out and falls onto the ground, and Angel's stare like stays on where the axe was for like 3 seconds, and then he just kind of casually looks over to where Wesley had fallen down, and for some reason it was funny as fuck to me.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so no, it was funny. So yeah, we come back from a commercial, and they've entered this abode, and they are battling this baby that's just come out of this giant egg, and you hear just all hell breaking loose inside this place, and there's fucking like green blood and shit sprayed all over the windows, and they're fucking going to town, and at one point you see Wesley like get shot out the fucking front door like through a cannon, and then he gets back to his feet and he gets back in there and he's all like, "You'll pay for that," and runs back in, and they finally dispatch it, and they come out and they're all covered in guts and brains and fucking green fucking mucus blood shit and the whole 9 yards. And they're just kind of casually talking and walking down the street. Wesley makes some shitty remarks about those girls, calling them doxies, which I guess that's an English term for hooers.
That's what I took it mean, especially because, well, go ahead.
Well, he completely changes his tune when Angel says, "I think they liked you."
Right, and then he's like, "Well, I didn't mean doxy in a sexually promiscuous way." So
right.
That leads me to believe that it's probably British slang for slut or whore or something.
Yeah. So then we cut to La Brea, and
hold on. This is what I was going to talk about. So Angel's like, "I think they liked you," as they're walking down the street, and Wesley's like, "What about the fact that they thought we were gay?" And Angel's like, "It just adds mystery." And that's kind of like my that follow up to the gay joke, like, kind of made the gay joke okay to me, like, because then Angel was just like so cavalier about it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well,
it just adds mystery. Like, it's not a big deal.
He's olden time, so he's bi anyway. So,
well, yeah, most likely. But I don't know, like, just to me, like, that whole like casually like, well, it just adds mystery. Like, I was like, okay, I'll forgive the gay joke this time. Like, it was.
Yeah, it wasn't a horrific joke or anything. It's just
right.
It's funny that in this show it keeps coming up over and over and over. Like, it seems like every other episode we have some type of gay joke or gay innuendo, you know. I don't know.
So let's dive into that just a little bit. I think part of the reason for that is because
bigotry?
Not necessarily bigotry, but yes, to an extent, but I think it's because on TV for a very long time we did not see male friendships portrayed the way a lot of male friendships really are, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, like anytime two men got like too quote unquote close, they'd have to make like a gay joke about it.
Exactly. I don't think that a lot of people and I think this negatively affects a lot of men. is the idea that men shouldn't be like close in a sense of expressing their feelings to one another or sharing things with one another or things like that. And at the end of the day, like, that's really fucked up, for one, because that's what a fucking friendship is.
Yeah.
Like, and unfortunately, I for a very long time, I don't think we were shown those kind of male friendships on TV. So when we were, like in the case of Angel and Doyle, or Angel and Wesley now, or whatever, then yeah, the writers felt the need to like toss in a gay joke, you know,
Yeah.
and that kind of thing, which is sad.
Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, but I do think it's gotten better on television.
Yeah,
With
nowadays it's much better nowadays. We just have to keep in mind this is the early
right,
aughts, late 90s, early aughts here, but
right, 100%.
I only bring it up because it seems like it's just Angel that where this happens a lot. Like you don't really see it in Buffy, but it's like
Right.
the writers over in Angel are like they have a hard on with something got close with two men. Make a gay joke.
But that plays into my point, because over on Buffy, you don't have the kind of male friendship relationships that you have developing over on Angel.
Yeah, and on Buffy, we're about to go, spoiler alert, we're about to go into a full-blown lesbian relationship, and it's totally cool.
Right.
Like, they're totally cool with that. But if it was two dudes, they'd be like, oh, what a couple of queers, you know.
Right.
Just saying.
But I think that's why, I mean, that's definitely why it doesn't happen over on Buffy, is because you don't have that kind of actual close male friendships over on Buffy like you do.
Or do we with Giles and Xander?
No, we don't.
No, but could we? Imagine Xander trapped in the Red Room.
I'm talking about actual male friendships, not male sexual relationships.
Damn it. Damn it.
And trust me, Xander and Giles are never going to be the kind of male friends that share their feelings and all that kind of thing.
What about Spike and Giles?
I see the way you say that. I still think you're thinking Red Room, like surprise butt sex.
That's where I always take it.
I know. Anyway, let's resume.
Nobody wants to talk about feelings. No one. Okay, so I have no idea where I left off. Okay, yeah. So now we're at the club, La Brea, and Cordy and this Wilson Christopher. This is where they're having their cheesy talk of where it appears to be a first date when it's supposed to be a third date, and yada yada yada. A bunch of baloney malarkey is talked about there, and then we see, I think her name's Serena, one of the girls with Cordy. She's like being flirty with her man. They're kissing, and the blonde, everybody's with somebody.
And Jeremy felt very lonely.
Yes, I hate all these emotions and feelings. Then we cut to, I guess it's much later, and Wilson Christopher has taken Cordy home like a gentleman, and they have a little kiss in the doorway, and then she straight up is like, "Yo, you want to come in?" And he's like, "Hell yeah, player!" And so they go in, and this is the first episode where we see Dennis,
the return of Phantom Dennis,
and he is not happy apparently with this guy, because he's doing everything in his power to make this an awkward situation, and cutting off the lights, changing the radio stations, all that kind of stuff, and at which point she goes into the kitchen and berates him. And then Wilson shows up, and he's like, "Who are you talking to?" And she's like, "Nobody." And then Bam! They're in her bed going to Pound Town. And
Yeah, they are.
she wakes up the next morning. It's like, I think it said 10:37 on her alarm clock.
No, it was 10:40 something. It was quarter to 11. It was quarter to 11.
And she sees it and she's like, "Oh shit, late for work." So she starts getting up out of bed, and when she pulls the covers back, bam, she's got a big old belly.
Yes. She says someone's gonna be late for work. And I was like, gonna be? What time are you supposed to be at the office?
Hey, you know what? I don't think she goes in till midday because of the whole sunlight angel thing, and they work at night basically.
Oh, maybe.
Come to think of it. Maybe she goes in like midday or so to do like filing and clerical type shit. But I don't think he starts, I don't think he gets out of bed till like 5 or 6 in the evening.
Yeah. And I mean, she probably does do auditions during the day before.
Right, because she's mentioned
so yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, she's mentioned that before, so. But yeah, she's got this big old belly. And she's like, whoa! And next thing we know, Angel and Wesley are arriving at her apartment because Angel is quite disturbed by her lack of appearance at the office, because apparently this is not like her and he's got a bad feeling. So Wesley's, I forget what he says exactly. Like, hey, we should do something. Or he goes, maybe we should. And then Angel just kicks the door in and walks on inside. And then Wesley finishes his sentence, break and enter and
trespass.
And trespass. Yeah. Trespass, as he says it. And so they're walking around her apartment, calling for her, nothing. And then they open up a door. It's her bedroom door. And there she is in bed. She won't even look him in the eye, and she's clearly massively preggers.
And she keeps talking about how she's ready to wake up, but she can't seem to wake up. Right. Also, can we briefly touch on how at the end of the first scene after the cold open and through the majority of this scene, Wesley was just completely shitting on Cordelia's character.
Oh yeah, talking about how she's not living up to her
job duties,
and she's shirking her responsibilities and all this stuff. It's just like she's Angel's employee. What the fuck do you care, But yeah, Wesley is being a little douchey. At which point, she starts telling him, but we were safe. Everything was safe. And I was like, was it?
Was it?
Was it? Because otherwise, how could this even be possible? But yeah, so Angel's like, here, call him, because maybe he's got some answers. So she's like, I can't. And he's like, just dial the number and I'll talk to him. And so she dials a number and he takes the phone and it says, the number you have called has been disconnected. So go fuck yourself. And of course he doesn't want to tell her that. So he's like, well, he's not picking up right now. You stay in bed and rest. And Wes, you stay with her. I'm going to go out. And Wes is like, where are you going? And he's like, I'm going to go find Daddy. And I was like, Daddy! And,
Daddy! Oh, we haven't had a good daddy moment in a while.
Right?
Daddy!
So, and he does tell Wes before he leaves, get a look inside of her. And Wes is like, excuse me. And he's like, prenatal exam. Go see what the fuck is like inside of her. And he's like, oh, yes, of course. Yes, of course. So the first place Angel goes is La Brea, and he's talking to the bartender, and he's kind of gains his trust with words, which is strange for Angel. And so he fills him, the bartender fills Angel in that, yeah, they go wherever Serena, takes them to. They go to whatever the hot place is at the time, and yada yada. And she's like the ringleader of the hooers, and Wilson brings around these well-heeled guys and yada yada. And so apparently this bartender, we don't see it on screen, but apparently he tells Angel where the Serena girl lives. So that's where Angel goes next. And so he gets there and knocks on the door, and she's like, just leave it outside. And he's like, it's Angel, Cordelia's friend. Can I come in? And she's like, sure. So he goes in, makes his way in, finds her she's in like the dark, but she has literally 873 candles across these two like bookcases, and she's lighting every one of them. And she's talking to him with her back turned, and then she finally turns, and what? She's preggers too. And and she's drinking straight from the bottle.
Right.
So
I was gonna say you left out a couple of important details. She's got all the candles because she says the light's been hurting her eyes lately.
Yeah.
And 2, she tells Angel, I thought you were the liquor store. And then she's like, I'm about dry. And as she says that, she turns around and she's pregnant. And she's like, I know you're thinking, won't that hurt the baby? And she's like, I hope so. And I was like, okay, we can't like show a healthy male friendship relationship without there having to be a gay joke involved, but we can be like, please drink to kill your fetus. Like what?
Fetus, yeah.
Like what?
I know. So when we come back and he's kind of, or no, I'm sorry, that's not yet. That is not yet. We come back from commercial and we're in we're actually in the waiting room and at the OBGYN, I guess. And they're Mr. and Mrs. Pangborn. That's the name Wesley's using. And this woman keeps talking to Cordelia and like, oh, what is it, boy or girl? How far along are you? And she goes to like touch her, and Cordy freaks. She's like, fuck, stop, don't touch me. And everybody's like, okay. And then they get into the waiting room and they're talking to the doctor, and he's like, why didn't you fill out all the paperwork? And Wes was like, yeah, well, you're from England, so just do your fucking job. So they do an ultrasound, and he's like, oh, looks like somebody's having twins. And they're like, twins? And then he's like, oh, wait a minute. That's a third heartbeat. That's a fourth, a fifth. And then he goes, oh my God. And she's like, what? And he's like, you're having demons. No, he doesn't say that. But he's like freaked the fuck out. And he's like, okay, I want to do a test. We're just going to pull out some amniotic fluid and we'll do some tests on that just to make sure everything's okay. And so he, sticks this huge syringe in her.
I want to bring this up because I didn't research it, and I maybe should have, but he states a statistic. He's like, now there's a 5% chance of miscarriage with this procedure. And I was like, I thought he said
0.5%.
No, I thought he said 5%.
Okay. Okay.
But either way, I was like, really? With just drawing amniotic fluid? Like, that doesn't seem right to me.
I guess it's the piercing of the I don't know what it is, like a turkey bag.
the baby house.
The baby house, yeah, I guess that's
I'm sorry, it's not the fetus oven.
Yeah, the fetus microwave. I don't know. I don't know that any of that's even true, like you said.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, that doesn't seem what? Really?
But he sticks in like a fucking 11-inch fucking needle into her, and she's just like, And, he pulls out all this fluid and then hands the syringe to the nurse. And he's like, okay, we're going to run some tests on this and we'll figure. And then the nurse is freaking the fuck out. They all look at her and like the syringe is getting all weird looking and she throws it down, which is very medical way of acting in that situation. She throws it on the floor and then it bursts and the fluid runs out onto the floor. And it's like apparently some type of fucking acid, like xenomorph acid, because it eats right through the floor and they're all just like, oh shit. And what happens next? The nurse and the doctor literally are like, fuck this. And they run out of the room and they just leave. I mean, I'm like, okay. And Wes is like, we need to go find Angel. And Cordy's like, what's inside of me? And she's like, she's not worried about the abnormality of it. She's worried about, is it healthy? So something's going on here with Cordy. And Wes is like, no, it's not healthy. It has horns and spikes, you fucking weirdo. He punches her like airplane style where they're just slapping the shit.
Right.
Yeah. And he's punching her in the stomach, by the way.
Right. And while he's yelling, out foul demons.
Out foul creatures. Get out of her child microwave. So then now we cut back to Serena's and Angel is sitting with her on the couch and asking her questions and stuff. Like he needs to try to find some type of clue as to where Wilson Christopher is at. And so at first, I was going to bring this up earlier. When she first reveals that she's pregnant, I was like, damn, he fucked them both in one night?
That's what I thought too.
And then I was like, what in the world's going? Like he fucked Cordy, then he or fucked her for, I don't know, but I was just like, wow, in one night, not bad. They're both two pretty good looking women. I'll tell you that right now. I ain't getting her. So she ends up telling him that there's this like gun club they like to hang out at. And he's like, okay. And then I found this strange. He's like, okay. Do you have any family, that you could call? And I'm like, well, first of all, what is she going to tell him? Like, hey mom, I'm 8.5 months pregnant. And what's wrong? Right. Like, I just saw you last week. You're what? But second of all, I'm like, he's basically saying, listen, I don't want to take care of you or help you. So I'm wondering if you have anyone you can call so I can get the fuck out of here. That's the way I took it. And she's like, no, I don't have any family. I don't have anyone that can help me. And he's like, oh, really? Thoughts and prayers. Bye. And he leaves.
I mean, okay, like, I get what you're saying, but also, to be fair, like, he was more worried about Cordelia, which makes sense.
No, I get it, but he literally just fucks off and leaves this woman, like, to her, like, he knows, because, he knows she's definitely, like, in self-destruct mode. Yeah, and that she's definitely, just like Cordy, if this thing comes to term, is going to die a horrific, horrific death.
Right.
But well, I mean, like, well, I don't really have time to care.
Well, okay, so two things to that. There's nothing at this point, there's nothing he can do to stop her from dying a horrific death.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But to the other point, like, he does know that she's already in self-destruct mode. So yeah, he probably should have been like, you're going to come with me so I can make sure you don't, like, jump out a window or something.
Yes, because...
Yeah, you're right.
Just saying, Duncan MacLeod would have been like, let's go. You're coming with me. And would have took her by the hand and took her and put her in the Thunderbird.
Jeremy, we can't hold all heroes to the standard of the ultimate hero, Duncan MacLeod.
True enough. But no, honestly, he should have been like, come with me, and taken her to Wes and been like, okay, Wes, watch both of these pregnant women who are about to die. while
100%.
but he's like, well, it was like Trump in fucking in Puerto Rico after the flood, where he takes him some fucking paper towels.
Just tossing paper towels.
Yeah, he's like, here's some paper towels, thoughts and prayers, deuces, and he's out.
Right. But and you know what? Now that you bring it up, you're right, and it does almost seem out of character for Angel to not have been like, okay, you're coming with me.
Yeah,
and have Wesley watch both of them. Very
unheroic.
Yeah,
and because he could have, and he should have also been like, "Where's your other friend live? The other chick that you were with?" Because he has to at that point say, "I'll bet they're all fucking knocked up."
Right.
So, but no, he's just like, well, in the interest of the time left in this episode, I'll see you later. So he just leaves her. And Wes and Cordy get back to Angel's at that point, and she's kind of doubled over in pain and stuff, and he puts her in Angel's bed and tries to make her comfortable, and she's kind of fading in and out, but she's definitely losing her losing her grip with reality, because she's like, what did you see? And she looks, and then she reveals that she can hear the fetuses talking to her, like telepathically. And they're like all talking at once, and she's like, I can't understand you, you're all talking at once. And then Wes is kind of like, okay. And he throttles her to death right there to save the world. He's like, I can't let these horrific fucking creatures come to the earth, so I'm afraid I'll have to kill you.
Right, the sacrifice of one to save the many.
Right. No, but anyway,
and he's like, I am and will always be your friend.
But I won't lie, this will be fun for me. I'm a little bit of a psychopath.
I thought you would jump at the fact that I was quoting Star Trek. Although you're not really a Trekkie, are you? You're more of a Star Wars.
I am, but what I am and always will be your friend. You're talking about part 2 when he sacrificed himself. Yeah. But that doesn't really relate to what we were saying. Because he doesn't beat to death to save the... but sacrifice the one to save the many. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Anyway. Oh, God.
Listen, it's not my fault you can't make easy connections, okay?
Okay. Listen, my brain works slowly. I'm old, okay? I'm not the young whippersnapper I once was. I smell colors. I'm so old.
Wow.
Yeah. So he gets Cordy situated back on the bed, and notices Angel is in the doorway, and they go in the other room and start fucking on the couch. Angel and Wes. No, Wesley's telling him what happened at the clinic and all that, and excuse me, and shows Angel the printout of the ultrasound, and he's like, fucking, there's like 7 at least, maybe more. And Angel's like, that's hot. And Wes is like, right? No, so Angel tells Wes that about Serena, that he's discovered her and she's also pregnant, and he's like, they hang out at this fucking guns and cigars club. He's looking in the yellow pages, he finds it, of course. Then they go walk.
Well, so there's a couple different ones on that page.
Yeah,
and then
one is called Guns, Cigars, and Lovemaking. It was really weird.
So, and then obviously, this scene wraps up, and then we cut to Angel showing up at the gun club, and I'm like, but in my mind, I'm like, I want to see Angel going to 5 other gun clubs.
The wrong ones, yeah.
And being like, fuck, that's not here.
First of all, I want to know how many guns and cigar clubs there are in town.
Right.
Like, is that like
Right.
this? I mean, maybe seriously, maybe I'm wrong. Like that, is that a thing in LA or like California in general?
I
Is that
don't
like
know.
a
all
popular?
all I know is that Duncan MacLeod would have given us a sweet montage of him driving around and walking up to random doors and not finding who he's looking for until we finally get to the right spot.
And talking over the montage of really weird words that don't really make sense.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that also would have happened. And I don't know much, but I know I love you.
Thank you.
No, you're supposed to say, and that may be all I need to know.
Oh.
Okay. Wait, let's put a gay joke in there to make that less comfortable. Oh yeah. So before Angel leaves, they walk. He and Wes are still talking. They look over, and Cordy's in the kitchen at the refrigerator, fucking guzzling a cup of Angel's blood that he drinks, and I mean it's just pouring down, and they're both like, and Angel goes, I didn't realize until just now how disgusting that actually looks. And she she puts it back in there, closes the fridge, wipes her face off, turns and walks past him and says, I was hungry. And then Angel's like, we need to figure this shit out. Like, really.
He tells Wesley, he's like, maybe order her a pizza or something.
Yeah. So I love this next scene. We cut to Wilson Christopher, who is apparently in this club, and he's shooting down the range to this target. And Angel just kind of walks up behind him and leans against the wall, and they have a little words back and forth. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm Angel," and blah 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 blah. And he's like, "And why should I tell you anything?" He's like, "Because if you don't, I'll kick your ass." and he goes, because right before that, Christopher Wilson, whatever, had said to Angel, "This is a private club." Keyword private. And so Angel was like, "Well, you're going to tell me what I need to know, or I'm going to kick your ass." Keyword ass. And so that's exactly what he does. He beats the shit out of him, and he's going to pummel.
I love this because, and I love this in any show like this, and it happens in Highlander too. I love it when the hero is in a fight and like the other guy is so just like completely outmatched by the hero.
Way out of his league. Yeah.
Right.
Thinks he's a big, tough, bad fucker, but he just getting housed.
Yes. Like literally every time, like in this scene, literally every time the hero like throws a punch, and then the bad guy will go to counter or throw a punch, and the hero doesn't miss a beat and like counters and clocks him again. Things like that. I love it. I love it.
Oh yeah, this was a great
example of that.
Yeah, and it was a great beat
and
down.
It happens again, another Highlander reference. It happens in Highlander all the time with Duncan and just like random asshole dudes.
Right. So the rest of his buddies show up, and he's like, "Well, because you're gonna have an accident," and blah 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 blah, and shoots Angel a bunch of times, and then he raises back up, and he's vamped out, and he's like, "I hate when people shoot me." Then he goes to whipping not only Wilson Christopher's ass, but all the Wilson Christopher's buddies, which I think there's 3 of them plus Will, so they're like 4 dudes. He fucked him
like that, yeah.
He beats all their asses, and he's kind of put it together. He's been talking during this ass beating, he's been talking to. He's like, wait a minute, you guys are all human, so it's not you. He's like, you're working with a fucking demon, you know. Who is this fucker? So that's what he's beating out of him now. So he ends up throwing him through this piece of plate glass, and then goes in there and puts his fucking foot on his neck, and he's like, now tell me what I want to know. And then we cut to Wes back at Angel's place. And he has discovered through reading, much like Giles does, that Cordy is carrying the spawn of a Haxel beast. And he shows her the picture. And he's like, but don't worry, you know, Angel's out there right now, and we're gonna figure this out and how to stop this from happening. At which point she double houses Wes and fucking KOs him. And she's like, nobody's gonna hurt my baby. And I was like, oh shit. And we cut the commercial. When we come back, the phone's ringing, and that brings Wes back into the land of the conscious. And he answers, and it's Angel calling from, what was that device he was calling from, James?
That would be a phone booth.
That would be a phone booth. Something anyone probably under the age of 30 has probably never seen in their life. So yeah, and did you notice during this phone call, Angel is manually pulling fucking bullets out of his gut, and he like looks at his hand with the blood on it and shit. I'm like, oh, that's gotta suck.
But it was also fucking awesome. Something else I want to talk about this scene is, and we don't often point it out. We've talked about it a couple times on Buffy. I did want to mention the cinematography of this scene, this Angel Wesley scene, because to me, it was fantastic. So obviously they're in two separate places, but in the camera on both of them, as it's individual between them, is tilt-a-whirling panning around them.
Really? I didn't even notice.
Yeah. It's like a pan.
I'm normally the one that notices that kind of shit. And I didn't even notice it.
So you've got Angel in the phone booth, and as he's on the phone, the camera is like tilt-a-whirling panning, you know, from one side to the next. And as each scene with Wesley is intercut with that, the camera on Wes is doing the same thing. I'm like, that's like, I was like that. Like I said, we don't talk about that kind of stuff a lot, or maybe as much as we should in going over these, but it was really good cinematography, in my opinion.
You know, it's almost like in this show, like they're doing more, like they're taking more, like, I don't want to say risks, but they're playing, like trying different things, and like it's almost like, you know, they're like, hey, let's try this. Let's see what this looks like. Let's try that, you know, more than they do with the established show, you know, Buffy. Like, sure, because Buffy has a certain way that it looks, that it's filmed, that things move. And I think maybe in Angel, especially at this time with it being the first season, they're like, hey, let's just try things and maybe try to find our own identity on this show. But yeah, so I'm kind of shitty I missed it. I normally catch shit like that. So Wes tells Angel, you know, that Cordy fucking KO'd him and left, and they realize that there's like a sorry, wow. They realize there's this, like, they have a psychic thing. This Haxel beast has a psychic control of her through this like psychic umbilical cord through these babies, and and he's controlling Cordy. And so they're like, well, we got to find where she's going, because if we find where she's at, we'll find this fucking Haxel beast. And he's like, how do I kill it? And Wes is like, well, I don't want to say invulnerable, but he starts listing all these ways you can't kill it. You can't, what do you say? You can't beheading.
He says fire won't kill it. Beheading won't kill it. Yeah. And he starts to say something else, and then Angel's like, "Can you shoot straight?"
Yeah, and he's like, no, I can't. Whenever I point a gun, it literally shoots backwards. No.
I was cursed as a small child.
Every time I point a gun, the barrel is pointing at me. I shoot myself in the face every time. So Cordy and Serena and the blonde-haired girl, I don't remember her name, and it looks like a couple of other girls. They all arrive at this place, kind of like an old refinery or something. And they dress each other in these weird fucking white gowns, and then they climb into this like vat of. It looks like piss. I don't know what it is. It's nasty looking. And Wes arrives, which I don't know how the fuck they found her, but we'll just leave that alone.
No, Angel says in the phone call that Wilson told him that's where they built the shrine.
That's right. Duh. Derp. Yep. So Wes arrives and he's like scolding Cordelia. He's like, "You get right out of there, just very instant." He's like, "It smells horrible," and she says something, and he's like, "Don't make me come in there after you." And so finally, this Haxel beast emerges from this lair. This thing is fucking huge, and Wes is clearly just trying to buy time, talking shit. He's like, "I want to fight you to the death," and yada yada, and he's like, "But first, I like to get to know my opponents before I fight them, engage them in
Mortal Kombat."
He's like,
"Mortal Kombat!" Oh, sorry.
So he's like, so I ask you, do you have any hobbies? And the Haxel beast is like, fuck this, arr. Then we see this big tank come rolling down, and Angel's there, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, I was late. Had to get a wedding present or baby shower present, something like that." And he picks up this big tank, looks like a water heater, and hurls it through the air, and it's flying toward.
He discus throws it.
Yeah, he like spins her. He's like, shoo, 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 and then whoo, throws it, and it's hurling towards the Haxel beast. And right when it gets to him, Wes pulls out a gun and shoots it. And what is it? It's liquid nitrogen, and he's like, "Ah!" and it's spraying all over him. And then we look, and boom, it's frozen solid from the liquid nitrogen. At which point the psychic link has been broken, and the women in the pool all cry out in pain as apparently these spawns all just kind of just disappear and die. And then Cordy climbs out and grabs this block with like an anchor on it and a rope, and fucking wings it, and it flies across there and smashes into the Haxel beast and kills it deader than fucking Elvis. And couple days later, the dudes are hanging out in the office and talking about Cordy, and bada bing, she shows up looking svelte and sexy once more. And she tells the boys, she's like, "Yeah, I went to this audition, and the producer said I'm one of his favorites, and we're gonna have dinner tonight." And they're both like, "Oh shit!" And they look at each other, and she's like, "Yeah, he says if I let him impregnate me with his demon spawn babies, I'll get the part." And she's like, "Yeah, I learned my lesson, guys." And she's like, "But the one thing I did learn was that I have two people who I can trust with my life." And then, I love this. Fucking, Wes all looks to the side, and he's like dabbing his eye, and he's like, "Allergies." And boom, credits, and that's our episode.
There was a funny moment in this scene where she's like, before she gets to, like, she learned that there's two people she trusts with her life, yada yada. She's listing all the things that she learned, and she's she's going through the list, and she's like, "Nope, already knew that one." And she's like, "Sex is bad," and Angel's like, we all know that one.
Yeah, because of his deal with
yeah. Jeremy, would you like to guess what our body count this episode was?
I'm gonna say 1.
2.
Damn, who was the second? The Haxel Beast, yes. Who was the other?
The parasite demon at the beginning that Angel and Wesley killed.
Yeah, damn it. Damn it.
Right.
And
It's all right. It's okay. It's okay. Our music this week, Deeper Than a Milkshake, Splashdown with Games You Play, and Christoph Beck and Robert J. Krall with our original score, as always. Jeremy, would you please tell me, and our lovely listeners and viewers, how many Procrea parasitic demons do you give this episode?
Since I stopped watching it, since the episode was over, from when I watched it all the way to the end of this podcast just now, I've been going over in my head, what do I want to give this? I'm going to go with a 3.
Okay.
I don't think it was as good as our Buffy episode last week. But it was a little like, if we do our things on a scale of 1 to 5, so 2.5 would be average,
Right.
So
right.
I think it's a bit above average. So I'm giving it a 3. It was lots of good comedy. There was a lot more good than there was bad, but there was some pretty cheesy, shitty stuff in here. The gay stuff, man, again, and like you said, it was a little better pulled off this time than normal, but still, it's just like, come on, guy, But yeah, it was definitely a good episode. It wasn't a must see. It wasn't a like earth-shattering episode, but I did enjoy a lot of the comedy and a lot of the like Wes integrating himself into the group, And
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's something I'm going to mention. I want to touch on when you're done and I'm giving my final thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. Shut up then. No.
Or I'll just interrupt you for 20 minutes straight while you try to get through it.
That's what I do to you. So it's fine. Turnabout's fair play. That's probably the thing I liked the most about this episode, and last week's Angel episode or last time's Angel episode. it's the integration of Wes into the group and becoming part of the group, and I always liked him when he was on Buffy, and
right.
I'm glad that it wasn't just the fans that saw Wes as a good character, and that they brought him back here to be on Angel, because he is a phenomenal character, and so yeah, that's probably my most the comedy and the further integration of Wes into the group is probably my favorite things for the episode. So that's all I got to say. James.
Yes, sir.
On a scale of 1 to 5, how many Haxel Demon jerk fests do you give this episode?
I also give this 3 Haxel Demon jerk fests.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's an above average episode. It's definitely one of the better episodes we've gotten this season.
Yeah.
Because again, like we've mentioned this, and it's still, even 12 episodes into both shows this season. How much, God, I can't believe I'm going to say this. How many more episodes of Buffy I've enjoyed out of season 4 than I've enjoyed out of Angel season 1 is really like taking me aback a little bit.
How aback taking you?
Like, on a scale of 1 to 5, like a 4.
4 abacks?
4 up backs, yes. Because no, seriously, like I remember like not liking Buffy season 4.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it, and every week I'm like, man, this is a good episode. Like what? Like, and
I
then
don't know, dude. I'm thinking we were just when we were younger, things were different. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know, or maybe we liked it, and over the years, hearing so many other people talk about how much they hate it, we were kind of like, yeah, that season sucks, and like
I definitely do hate the big bad, and I definitely do hate
right.
the overall art, the initiative, and I do hate all that shit. 100%. I think it was horrible writing. But
overall, as a season,
the
so
episodes
far,
that
it's
are
not bad.
Yeah, the episodes that are encapsulated within their own story have been really good. Absolutely.
Right.
But when they start bringing in anyway, and I always knew that season 1 of Angel was kind of a rough go.
Now, see, I remembered it differently.
I think you went into it a lot more with a lot higher hopes than I did.
I did.
I remembered season 1 being like a hit and miss season, like you'd get an episode that you're just like I will remember you. It's just like holy shit, and then an episode like the fucking that one that we wouldn't even discuss, that we just
the whammy stick episode.
Yeah, that
yeah, Sense and Sensitivity.
Yeah, and I knew that there were episodes like that, so I think you went in like a little more optimistically than I did.
I really think like how good the show gets and maintains itself really gave me rose-colored glasses, or to this first season. But yeah, it's a 3. It's definitely an above average season 1 episode. And honestly, the things that kept it from being like a 2 are exactly the things you mentioned. Honestly, the humor was great in it. It hit all the points. The humor did, and the relationships, not just the Wesley relationships, but like Angel and Cordelia's growing relationship. Like like when Angel referred to himself as family.
Yes,
yes,
I forgot
when the bartender
at the time, and he's like, "Oh, you the boyfriend?" And he's like, "No, I'm family."
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And of course, like you mentioned, like the Wesley slowly being integrated, and I think that's key. Like slowly being integrated into this dynamic.
Wedge him in and be like, "Okay, new Doyle,"
right.
Like he's having his own arc. He is his own character, and he's finding his own place within the group.
Right. And yeah, seeing all of those relationships develop in this episode, and I don't know why, because it's not like that stuff doesn't happen in other episodes, but for some reason it was really evident and poignant in this episode, and kind of saved it. It kind of saved the episode for me, along with the comedy. So
yeah, and I would say that we only have one thing left to do before the series really becomes good on a regular basis, which is get rid of Kate.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a 3. It's a 3 for me. Definitely an above average episode.
Awesome. James, do me a solid, bro. Mm-hmm. Tell our peeps how to peep us.
Well, they can go to BuffyRevisited.com, and you're going to find all kinds of links. You're going to find the link to our Facebook, the link to our YouTube, the link to our merch store. That's right, we have merch. And the link to our email, which is BuffyRevisited@gmail.com. Hop over onto the Facebook page. You're going to find posts. Pick a post you like. leave us some comments, leave us some thoughts, leave us some opinions, leave us some questions, leave us some answers. Whatever you got for us, leave it.
Your favorite?
Same thing. Yeah, same thing over on the YouTube. You're gonna find. Get this, folks. Get this. If you go to YouTube right now, you're gonna find the video version of this very podcast.
Maybe.
I mean,
if you're on time uploading it.
right. Well, this is Angel, so it'll definitely be on time.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Because you've got extra. Yeah.
Because I've got extra.
We're peeking behind the curtain here, but yeah,
We're peeking behind the curtain a little bit. But I've got a little bit. I got a little bit extra time to a little bit.
Yeah.
So that one this one will be up on time. If it's Buffy, it might be a little hit or miss.
It might be about Thursday.
I promise. If it's not there Monday, it'll be there Tuesday. I will do my best to not let it go.
Dude, I'm
later
shocked
Tuesday.
by how many messages I get from people saying, "Where's the video?" Or my brain stopped. Where's the video version? And I never even check, dude. So I go, oh, well, it's not there. And so then I go and I look and I go, okay, yeah, it's not. So, and I'll go, so what's happening is I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I do not have anything to do with the video. So 9 times out of 10, I have no idea if it's there, if it's not there, if it's messed up, if it's not messed up. I'm like, I don't know, guys. I'll ask.
And we talked about this a few episodes ago, but like I'll lay it out again. Like the bottom line is, for various reasons, there's
mainly laziness.
There's frequently times where we don't end up recording until late Sunday night.
Well, let's just be honest. Right now, Eastern Standard Time, it is 12:45 a.m.
Right. Here it's almost midnight.
Yeah.
So by the time we get done here, and like it takes, it doesn't take that long to download the video from Skype, but then, the little tweaks and edits, and then downloading that usually takes at least an hour to 2 hours, and then uploading to YouTube can take anywhere from an hour to 2 hours.
The truth is we are idiots, and we should be not waiting to record in the Buffy episode until the night before it's due.
Right.
Like we probably should record like the week before for there's a lot of things we should do.
Right. And we used to be better about that. But I mean, life happens. Like, this week I messaged Jeremy early on Saturday, and I was like, hey, how does this time tonight sound for you? And he was basically like, go fuck yourself. I'm extremely busy. I can't.
Yeah, I literally will. And I was like, tomorrow, 6 p.m. And he's like, okay. And then at about 1 p.m. today, I texted him. I was like, yeah, it's going to be more like 9.
Right.
So, I mean,
life happens.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest, when Jeremy messaged me, I was half tempted to be like, I guess we're not putting out a show tomorrow.
Wow. And I would have been like, okay. I'll just put up a little thing and say, hey guys, sorry.
But no, like life happens. But usually that's why it's not up like first thing Monday morning, is because
I don't have to go through nearly that much shit. Like it's a lot easier to do the audio.
And it's literally like it is literally just the download and upload times that extend it. Because I'll be honest with you, what little I add or take away from the video version doesn't take me that long to do. Like I'm pretty quick with it now.
Yeah.
It's the once everything's combined, downloading that whole thing can take up to 2 hours. and then uploading to YouTube, so like, and granted, I can start the YouTube upload and then go fuck off, but it's that initial download of the completed video version that might take 2 hours that, by the time we're done recording at midnight, I'm like, fuck that, I'm not staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning. I have to work tomorrow morning.
Yeah. See, for me, it's way easier. Like, I just download the audio files from the mixer
Right.
to a thumb drive, and then I take that to my other PC, and all I have to do is load those files into my audio editing suite, and then I have a how do I explain this? I have a bunch of filters and a bunch of basically macros that I created so I can run them all back to back. All I got to do is hit start, and it will run through each thing, and I can just go fuck off while it does that. And then when it's done, all I got to do is save it, export it, and then upload it to our stream. And it's a lot of, for the audio, a lot of it is, now that I have it set up, it's a lot of it's automated now that I've done all that work to make it automated.
Yeah.
So I don't have nearly the issue at all.
Right. And like I said, it's literally like downloading the video from Skype that takes no time at all. Throwing in like our logo and the episode trailer and this and that.
Plus the subliminal messaging. The
subliminal messaging that secretly tells everyone how sexy we are.
And it's in the background. Happy Halloween, Halloween,
Halloween, Halloween, happy Halloween.
Shamrock.
And then your face explodes or shrinks, or the mask you're wearing crushes your skull, and snakes and bugs and whatnot crawl out of it.
Right.
Yeah, that part doesn't take very long at all. Like I said, it's literally like, once it's all combined, re-downloading that. For some reason, I don't know why, it takes forever to re-download that.
Video has always been a pain in the ass to work with. That's why I don't do it. That's why I don't work with video anyway, and never have. Video has never been of interest to me, and I don't mean just in a podcast. I just mean in general. Video is just a pain in the ass. So
yeah, I just like people to see me. That's all.
I know you're very vain. I know.
Yeah, that song was about me.
I know. We all know. There's no need to keep asking, who was that song about? It was about James.
This guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why. But I promise, if it is not there first thing Monday morning, it will be there by Tuesday at the latest. I will do my absolute best to make sure it does not go.
You're goddamn right, you will.
To go beyond that, and stop fucking messaging Jeremy about it.
Yeah,
like fucking.
Because at the end of the day, I don't give a flying fuck. I've said this before. I don't give a wet fucking fart if we have video or not. Okay? Were it up to me, we wouldn't even have video. It would still be just an audio podcast like we always had. So bottom line is, if you have any audio questions or comments, concern, whatever, sure, shoot them my way. But if it's anything to do with YouTube or the video, number one, I don't know. And that's just the truth. Number two, I don't care. And number three, I don't care. So you'll need to hit James up, which Buffy Revisited at gmail.com, because he pretty much controls that. So hit him there, and if he cares enough, he might respond. Who knows?
I will respond.
Because I've texted him before during the week and been like, hey, I got reports that such and such happened, or it's whatever. And he's like, he doesn't even respond. He's like, and I'm like, well, I take that as he just doesn't care. So
it's not that I don't care, but what you have to remember is that between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., I'm working.
Yeah, but when I contact you, I want fucking answers, and I want
I usually try to respond to you as quickly as I can.
No, I try to never contact you when you're working.
Folks, this is entirely true what I'm about to tell you right now. Between the time we recorded the episodes prior to the mid-season hiatus to logging into Skype tonight to record these episodes, Jeremy and I did not talk at all.
We didn't share a single... Wait, no. Yeah, I texted you... Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Week...
Well, that's how insignificant it was to me.
Yeah. No, it wasn't anything. It wasn't... I asked you something. And you answered me, and that was the gist of it. But, dude, it's not you. I don't talk to anybody.
No, it's the same thing. It's not. Yeah, I don't really.
If something comes up that has to do with something that I know we're both into, or we both find funny, you're the first one I send it to.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, that's pretty much how all my text communications go too. I don't.
I thought I'd be like, this motherfucker hasn't talked to anyone in like 8 days.
Yeah. Like
I roll.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am too. So, but anyway,
because I didn't see you on Facebook I haven't seen you on Facebook for like a month, hardly, like very little.
Yeah, well,
and frankly, that has saddened me.
Well, my eye exploded, Jeremy. There was
my eyeball literally exploded.
Dude, I'll send if you want me to.
You didn't even text me that and be like, "Hey, bro, just wanted to let you know my eye's falling out of my skull." Like, I didn't even know that.
No. It's pretty much only my family.
If one of us is killed during an off week when we're not recording, we're not even gonna know. Like when we go to like, I'll text him on like a Friday or a Thursday and be like, "Hey, how about this time on this day for recording?" And I'll just never hear. One of us will just never hear from the other one ever again.
And be like, "Guess we're not doing the podcast anymore."
Yeah, like, well, I guess I'm solo this week. I'll be like, "Gentlemen, I think James may have passed away. I'm not sure."
We're gonna have to put like in our phones, like in the notes app or something, or maybe next to like where we have each other in our phone, just add in a note that says, "Please contact if I die."
Yeah, let him know that he needs to find a new co-host for the podcast. No, see, I'm covered because I know my sister would let you know.
That's true.
However,
your sister.
What?
Yeah. I was just going to agree with you. Yeah, your sister would let me know.
Yeah. However, if you get fucking murdered or something,
No.
Yeah. I'll never know. I'll have to read about it in the news, and I'll be like, "Oh shit. Well, I guess I need a new fucking host."
I'm just gonna have to give my sister like a blanket directive. Like when I die, or if I die, you need to go into my phone and just blanket message everybody. Like James is dead.
James is dead. Thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers.
Here's some Scotch towels.
Oh man! All right. That's everything I've got.
All right. Well, I don't have anything, so I want to just say thanks for joining us this week. Next week we'll be back to Buffy season 4, episode 13, "The I in Team," which I didn't think there was an I in Team, but we'll find out next week.
There is no I in team, but there's an M and an E, and that spells me.
That's right, baby. And so with that being said, I've been one of your hosts. I'm Jeremy.
I'm your other host, James.
Ta-ta.